It's great to be here, and I love the Myrtle Heights Democratic Club process for endorsements. It's a great process, and it reflects my politics. So it feels like I'm in a warm place, but that hasn't been my life the last 4 months. The ordeal that me and my family have been going through has been fierce, and it's been well reported. And I have been extremely insecure in talking to really anybody. And it's been torturing me inside that I haven't really had contact with people or organizations like the Myrtle Heights Democratic Club, who supported me in my run for sheriff, as well as supported me in my past campaigns successfully for the office of supervisor. I think I owe you a sort of a report or information that had occurred that you haven't heard from anybody else, neither from me nor from my wife, but mainly from the media, who's basically narrated the story for you and not necessarily accurate at all. It has been excruciating to see myself or my family branded in the way that they have been, and it has been completely, I just want to say, the biggest nightmare of our lives, my life. And so as I'm trying to come out of my shell, I really feel like I want to get back to talking with friends and talking with people like yourself, because I owe you that. One is I want to apologize to you all, as I have tried a number of times to articulate my just complete regret and sorrow for any kind of embarrassment or shame I may have caused any of you in your support of me, and of your concern that I am somebody different than what you may have thought. I'm not the same guy I used to be. Going through an experience like this, quite frankly, has such a unbelievable effect on you that it has been, to say the least, a very soul-searching process. And that all stems from what happened on December 31st. And on December 31st, before I was sheriff, at 11:45 a.m., a quarrel had occurred inside our car, our minivan, between my wife and I. It was a familiar discussion, unresolved, about my wife's impending trip to Venezuela and taking our son for an extended period of time. We were on our way to lunch, and the quarrel, the back and forth, intensified. And I decided, after driving about 8 or 9 blocks, to turn the car around, because we were heading towards Delfina Pizza in California and Fillmore, who doesn't take reservations, and I was concerned that our quarrel would have, been aired in public, and so I made a decision against my wife's wishes of turning around our car and not going to lunch. That is, by the way, the basis for the plea bargain of what I was charged with on false imprisonment. That was the false imprisonment on the basis of the plea bargain. The other charges that had been so well reported were dropped. When we got home and parked the car, I had said my piece, but my wife was still very angry. And what happened then next, I will always regret. And what happened was that as she, in our minivan, she was very agitated, and as she was unharnessing our son, we were parked, and taking him out of the seat, he was crying. He was panicked in a way that I've never seen him before, And I felt the need to reach out to my wife and put my hand underneath her arm to try to de-escalate what was happening so that I could ask her to come back and sit down in the passenger seat. In that process, and I'm still in the driver's seat myself, seat belted, I ended up causing a bruise underneath her arm right here. And I'm sorry for that, incredibly so. My wife went inside our house, and it was a stressful and strained, certainly rapport, but the rest of what I heard in the press while we read is a complete distortion. There was no imprisonment, no sequestering of my wife for 18 hours as it had been repetitively aired. There had been no argument in the streets. There had been nothing that had, there was so much that was just misinformed. It was unbelievable. Even in the papers it said that I told my wife I'm a powerful person and you cannot take our son out of this country or something like that. That in itself was a complete distortion. What I was referencing was how powerful the laws are in the state of California, and I was concerned for the safety of my family, because in Venezuela, my wife, who is somewhat high profile herself in Caracas, I'd just been elected sheriff, kidnappings and concern for my family was something that was unresolved and something we wanted to continue to work out. That didn't get worked out, and I was simply trying to paraphrase, quote, that it requires a parent's consent when your child is out of the country for more than 2 weeks. My wife also didn't have her green card at that time. So this is one of the reasons that in this whole process, when her attorney was asking for immunity and it was not granted by the DA, it was because I wanted to take responsibility completely for what occurred between my wife and I, and make sure that there was nothing that would deflect or reflect on her, which is why I took responsibility and full accountability for what happened. And we're prepared to go to trial on this. And it was evident by our jury consultant that with just a great amount of response from the prospective jurors on the 200 plus questionnaires that we received, that the jury pool was so well polluted because of the press that it was just that clear we weren't going to get, I think, what would be a fair trial or even considered a fair trial. So I made a call to put this behind us. And the call was based on the plea that I had certainly owned up to. It doesn't stop me from being sheriff. There's nothing prohibitive at all on a low-level, non-violent resolution, such as what I had pled to. It does not inhibit me from carrying a weapon. And it is what I had believed was something that I could put behind us in moving forward. I was sad and shocked to see that a week later that I was faced with an official misconduct charge by the mayor, and that is now the other front that I'm proceeding with right now. There was never any dissuasion whatsoever. When I ran for sheriff, as I had held in the esteem of what the office of sheriff is and in law enforcement, I would never try to dissuade anybody, ever. You may recall that I worked for 9 years in the district attorney's office, graduated president of my police academy class, carried a weapon for 9 years, as part of the law enforcement infrastructure for many years. There's no way that I would somehow then try to undermine the integrity of what I believe since moment one when this even happened, that I said, as sheriff, I have to believe in this process. And that is exactly what I held steadfast to do. Even if I didn't like the process, that's what I always quoted saying. Even when people kept trying to say this is political, I would try to resist that so that I would believe in the process, the integrity of the process itself. So all these other allegations that have bubbled up about dissuasion or anything else, this is why I'm here tonight, to look forward to fighting that. because I believe as the elected sheriff, as somebody who's gone through an experience that's as painful and torturous as you may think it is by what you're reading, trust me, it's 1,000 times more than being in my shoes and my family's shoes. And that is something that I so much want to try to repair and rebuild with my family, with my wife, who also wants to do the exact same thing. And I believe that also will continue to refine me and better me as a man, as a husband, father, and frankly as a sheriff. And to be removed in the way that I was removed, and in the process, the way that it unfolded between me and the mayor, if it happened to anybody, if you agree or disagree whether they should be in office or not, or even feel indifferent to it, the process was wrong, and what they're doing, in my opinion, is unlawful. And I'm worried, very worried, and even though this is me and it's my career that is on the line in that respect, I would still stand up if somebody else was in this position, because in the manner that this is being done, it's a manner that is unprecedented for San Francisco. It is completely uncharted territory in the way that they're inventing the rules right now in the Ethics Commission. And it speaks to, I think, a level of excessive or disproportionate use of power where it hadn't existed before, or at least been attempted. And so I feel in the principled determination to really try to fight that. So I'm here before you to just let you know what things you may have not heard before. There has been so much misinformation early on when this sort of became a runaway train of innuendo.